Hey everybody, my name is Brendan Noble and I'm a young adult author. This week on my Slavic Saturday series, we're talking about an important animal in both history and mythology of Slavic culture, and that is the horse. So as an update, I'm about 91,000 words into the first book of my Slavic fantasy series, which is why I'm doing these videos and these posts. And if you're interested in that, make sure you check out the links down in the description below. But now let's talk about the horse and let's get started. You might think it's weird that I'm bringing up the horse as an important animal and symbol in Slavic mythology, because normally you would think of some kind of more powerful animal. A lot of people think of maybe the bear or the wolf when it comes to Slavs, especially Russian culture. And that's not inaccurate. A lot of the wolf and bear imagery is going to be really important, and we're going to talk about in other videos. But what people don't realize is actually the horse may be the most important animal in Slavic culture. And that's a significant reason for that, because agriculture was the core of the early Slavic society. Without it, they wouldn't live. They had, especially, I talked about my Venedovi Vistula Veneti post about how they had invented early crop rotation techniques, but also the plow, and they would need the horse to pull the plow. They would need the horse to help around the farm to carry a lot of heavy things that people couldn't. And without the horse, the farming that was already a really difficult endeavor would have been even more difficult. So they saw both the importance of the horse, and they also saw the multiple sides of a horse and the personality. They saw the power of it, but they could see the moodiness of the horse, and that comes through the mythology of multiple different sides of the horse with different gods. Many of the gods appeared as good with the combination of the horse. For example, Eurylo, who's the spring god and god of agriculture. See the relevance there. He was often seen as riding through, bringing spring as he rode a white horse. His sister, Dijivana, was a spring goddess and goddess of the wilds and hunt. And she also was seen as her symbol was the mare, and she was the patroness of horses. So again, another connection with spring and the hunt in the wilds. But you would also see some negative connotations with Chernobog, who was a dark god who, while his historical actual relevance to early Slavs can be debatable, he was seen riding a black horse, which was considered a negative thing. But again, Chernobog was actually kind of a rare case, considering both Triglav, who was a three-headed god of war, was also seen as positive, riding a black horse. And then there was also the god Dashbog, who was the god of the sun, and he was seen kind of like Helios in Greek mythology, and he had three horses pulling his chariot, and they were a gold, a silver, and a diamond one. So again, a lot of gods have this connection to the horse, and there's even more. You can even say Veles might have some, and there's Marzana technically may have a connection with the white horse. So there could be many different colors to the horses and different elements to them with the gods, and they all come through. And the fact that many of the significant gods are connected to the horse show how significant it is. It's even more connected to them than the wolf. In Slavic myth, though, it doesn't stop with the deities, the connection with the horse. The Rozbisi, who were the diviners in early, especially the Polish tribes, they would use the horse as a divination technique, where they would bring the horses out and see how their attitude and their behavior acted during the ritual when they considered whether they wanted to go to war or not. So this is a very powerful thing, that they are using horses to determine whether they want to go to war and conquer someone else or not. That can determine the future of a tribe. During festivals, a lot of the people who were symbolizing different animals or creatures or gods were seen dressed up as horses or riding horses. And even during marriage festivals, the groom was considered symbolized by a white horse or just a horse in general as well, showing that potential, often with connection to Eurylo there. So we see it in their festivals, in their economy, in their deities, how important the horse really was. But But one interesting thing is, despite all of this, and even the connection with a lot of war gods with the horse really wasn't used in war for the Slavs. And that's unlike a lot of the tribes around them, especially in the east. You would have the Huns who were attacking, the Sarmatians, the Alans. A lot of these people used horse archery or cavalry as a core part of their army, but the Slavs did not. You might be wondering about the famous Polish winged hussars, who were known as perhaps the most powerful cavalry in history. But those didn't come about until about the 1600s to 1800s. And that's a significant period difference than the early 4th to 5th century I'm talking about here. Here, the stirrups and saddle had not reached Eastern Europe beyond the Roman Empire yet. It's potentially had reached some of the upper ranks, and some of the richer people and chiefs and warriors may have had access to some of those, but the average warrior and fighter would not. So, and a key part of Polish warfare and Slavic warfare was to sit in the forest and wait for an ambush, and the horse wasn't effective at that. It wasn't as stealthy. And so they would, in fact, especially when they were being attacked by people that had heavy cavalry, they would wait in the forest where that cavalry was not as effective. So they took the disadvantage of not having access to the same tech and used it to their advantage by using their infantry. And so the cavalry eventually became a much larger part of Slavic warfare, but especially in the early part, it was not as impactful as you would imagine, because often they needed the horses on the farm to focus on keeping people fed. And a quick note on my story, Vaclav, who is the main character in the story, does have a horse of his own named Tanik, which is the Polish word for immortal. And I picked that for reasons you will see eventually if you read the story. But I hope to see and show through their relationship between the two characters, or the horse and the character, kind of the importance of the horse in their society. And I hope that you can kind of get that feel as you're going through it, because of the power that really is in horses through the Slavic myths. And that's all I have for you guys today on my Slavic Saturday video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe down below, as well as click on some links in the description. I've got some text posts related to this. There's also a lot of other Slavic mythology posts going on with the series, and I hope that you enjoy reading them and listening to some of the videos.